Alive! Nice. Let us hope that everything works. Nice. Da 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 da. Hey, hey. Na 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 na. Oh, 'cause we're gonna have a good day. Good day. Hi everyone! Thank you for joining the chat for today's reading. Today's reading will be about St. Chrysostom on priesthood. It is a beautiful, wonderful story about friendship and the responsibilities that come with being a priest. If you'd like to stay with today's reading, uh, wait. Hero2008 says hello. Hi, hello, how are you today? I'm pulling up my soundboard right now. Woohoo, how are you? Okay, let's do a quick prayer for today's reading. Okay, with that being said, let's get started! Whee! So, chapter 18. Wait. I need to be able to hear my voice in order to read this properly. Chapter 18. The settlement of disputes and need for personal tact. The settlement of disputes involves countless burdens and much expenditure of time, and great discontent than even those incur who sit to try secular cases. The difficulty is to find the justice of the case, and it is hard not to subvert it when found. Expenditure of time and discontent is not all. There is also no little danger. Before now, some of the weaker brethren have fallen into difficulties, and find no protection, have made shipwreck concerning the faith. For many of those who have suffered wrong hate those who failed to help them no less than those who inflicted it, and they will take into account neither the complicated nature of the business, nor the difficulty of appointing a suitable time, nor the limitation of... Let's learn how to pronounce this word. Look at this. Watch this.
Ecclesiastical.
Ecclesiastical. Nor the limitation of ecclesiastical authority, nor anything else, but they are unpitiful judges who recognize one form of defense only, relief from the troubles which oppress them, and he who cannot offer them this relief, however many the excuses he urges, will never receive acquittal at their hands. Now that I have mentioned patronage, come, let me reveal to you another pretext for blame. If the bishop do not every day pay a round of visits more extensive than the ordinary loungers, causes of offence arise which baffle description. Not only the sick, but also the healthy, wish to be visited, not so much because their piety prompts them, as because of them pretend to honor and distinction. And should he ever happen to visit, one of the richer and more powerful men, more frequently, prompted by some special need, with a view to the common welfare of the Church, immediately he wins the reputation of flattery and subservice. Why mention cases of patronage and visiting. By the very way in which they address a person, they incur such a load of criticism that they are often overweighted by the burden of despondency. Why, they They have to render account for the merest glance. Most people subject their casual doings to a minute examination, measuring the loudness of their tones, the expression of their face, and the degree of their laugh. "He smiled affably," says one, "and so, and so, and addressed him with a bright face and hearty voice, but he was less pleasant with me, and indeed quite casually." If, when many are seated together, he does not turn his eyes in every direction while conversing, the rest say that his action is positively insulting. What man then is not unusually strong could suffice against so many accusers, so as either not to be indicted by them at all, or to escape after the indictment? He should have no accusers, or if this is impossible, he should face their charges. But if this is not easy either, as many take pleasure in vain and random accusations, he must bear the annoyance of these complaints. He who is justly charged can easily endure the charge, for since there is no accuser more bitter than his own conscience, therefore, when we are first convicted by that severe standard, we have no difficulty in bearing the greater attacks from without. But when he has no conscience of evil, is accused without cause, his anger is quickly roused, and he is ready to pray to vexation, unless he has trained himself before that to bear the annoyance of the vulgar, for it is quite impossible for one who is subjected to groundless charges and attacks to be undisturbed and unaffected by such unreasonable conduct. Who can describe the distress they feel when it is needful to excommunicate any one from the body of the Church? Would that the danger went no further than distress! But as it is, there is no slight peril. There is reason to fear that if a man be punished beyond measure, he may undergo the experience mentioned by the blessed Paul, and he be swallowed up with overmuch sorrow. There is need in that case also for great care, that what should have been helpful may not be an occasion of greater loss, for the sins which such an one commits after such treatment are shared by the physician who treats the wound unskilfully. What punishment then must he expect when he has not only to render account for his own offences, but is also brought to the utmost peril for the sins of others? If we shudder when our own offences are examinated, for fear that we shall not be able to endure that fiery ordeal, what must he expect to endure who is asked to be made a defence on so many charges? To learn that this is true, hear the words of the blessed Paul, or rather not his words, but the words of Christ who speak in him. "Obey them that have the rule over you, and submit yourselves to them, for they watch in behalf of your souls, as they shall give account." Is the fear then of this threat small? We must not say it is. Well then, what I have said is enough to persuade the most stubborn and obstinate that my reason for escaping this office was not arrogance or desire for glory, but that I was afraid of my own safety, and was regarding the burden of the duty. Book 4, Chapter 1. Misgovernment is punished alike in those who seek office and those thrust into it. Basil heard this, and after a short pause he said, this is his friend, "Well, if you had been personally ambitious to obtain this office, your anxiety would have been reasonable. He who, by his ambition to receive the work, has made a profession of power to administer it, cannot have resources to the plea of inexperience when he fails. When he put himself forward, he deprived himself of this excuse by eagerly seizing the ministry, and he who of his own free will and accord has voluntarily taken up the work can no longer say, I committed such and such an error against my will, or I did such and such mischief against my will. For he who will judge him on that day will say, since thou wert conscious of thy great inexperience, and hadst not ability to undertake this charge without failure, why wert thou so eager to obtain it? And so presumptuous as to undertake work beyond thy power? Didst thou struggle and resist? And did another press thee forcibly into it? You, at any rate, will not hear such words as these. You could never reproach your own conscience with such a thing, and it is clear to all that you never showed any eagerness, great or small, for the honour, but the success of the design was due to others. The very fact which deprives them of pardon for the mistakes committed provides you with plentiful field of excuse. Chrysostom, he continues. In answer to this I shook my head and smiled gently, marvelling at his simplicity, and I replied, I could wish myself that it were as you say. My best of friends, not that I might receive the offers from which I just now escaped. For if there were no punishment in store for me for attendance to the flock of Christ without either diligence or experience, it would be worse than any punishment to prove so base after being entrusted with such great matters. Why then do I wish that your opinion were not mistaken? It is for the sake of those wretched and miserable men, for thus I must describe those who cannot discover how to administer this work, even though you tell me times without end that they were forced into it, and made their mistakes in ignorance, that they might avoid the unquenchable fire, and the outer darkness, and the worm that never dies, the cutting asunder and the perishing with the hypocrites. But what can I do? It isn't quite untrue. If you wish it, I will begin with the kings whose office is not so highly accounted of by God as the priesthood, and from it I will give you the proof of what I say. When Saul, the son of Kish, was made king, he was not eager for the work. On the contrary, he left home to seek the asses, and visited the prophet to inquire about them. But the prophet spoke to him about the kingship. Even then he did not grasp the office, notwithstanding that he had heard a prophet's words, but he tried to avoid it, and to escape, saying, Who am I, and what is my father's house? What then? When he made an evil use of the honour bestowed on him by God, this plea prevailed to save him from the anger of him who made him king. And yet he might have said, in answer to the accusation of Samuel, Did I grasp the kingdom myself? Did I violently seize this power? I wished to live a private life in quietness and peace, but you forced me into this position. Had I remained in my lowly station, I should easily have avoided these offences, for surely, if I had been one of the obscure multitude, I should never have been sent to this work. Nor would God have entrusted to me the war against the... We discover we're together.
Amalekites.
Amalekites. And against the Amalekites, and had I not been entrusted with it, I should never have been guilty of this sin. But all these excuses are weak, and not only weak, but also dangerous, and kindle God's anger more fiercely. I will be reading all comments after I finish this reading today. For he who has received undeserved honor should not use the greatness of this honor as a cloak for his faults. He ought rather to use God's bountiful favor towards him as a greater incentive to improvement. But he who has been promoted to honor thinks it lawful for himself to commit sin, and is thereby eager to prove that the kindness of God to him was the cause of his own sins. And this is always the argument of the wicked and careless. We must not be so minded, nor must we fall into the same error as they. Rather, we should at all times be eager to do our duty to the best of our power, and to be reverent in the word and thought, again to leave the kingdom and to come now to the priesthood with which our subject deals. Neither was Eli eager to obtain the office. What therefore did this profit him when he sinned? Why do I say obtain it? He could not even have escaped, had he wished, by reason of the law, for he was the tribe of Levi, and was compelled to accept the office which fell to his lot in due course by reason of his birth. Yet he, too, paid no slight penalty for the excesses of his son. Again, the first high priest of the Jews, about whom God spake so much to Moses, came very nigh perishing himself, what time he availed not alone to withstand the madness of so large a multitude? Had not the intercession of his brother softened God's anger? And since I have mentioned Moses, it is right to establish the truth of my argument. From what befell him, the same blessed Moses was so far from coveting the lot of Leda, of the Jews, that when it was offered to him, he withdrew. And though God commanded him, he was so unwilling that he even kindled the anger of God, who appointed him. Not only then, but after that, when he held the office, he would gladly have died to be released from it. "Slay me," he said, "if thou wilt thus deal with me. What then?" When he sinned at the water, did those repeated refusals avail to make excuse for him, and to persuade God to pardon him? For what other cause was he deprived of the promised land? For no cause, as we all know, save for this sin. For which cause would that wondrous man prevailed, not to obtain the same blessings as those whom he governed, but after his many conflicts and sufferings, after those unspeakable wanderings and the wars and triumphs, he died outside the land for the sake of which he toiled so much, and after enduring the perils of the sea, he did not enjoy the blessings of the haven. I don't have a sister or brother other than the brothers and sisters in Christ. Do you see, then, that those alone who seize the office, but those who are led to it through the zeal of others, have no excuse left when they fall, inasmuch as they who often refuse the work, when ordained by God, who were punished so severely? And this fact availed not to save them from danger either. Aaron or Eli, or that blessed man, the saint, the prophet, the wonderful, who was meeker than all men upon earth, who spake as a friend with God, surely we who fall so short of our goodness shall not be able to plead as excuse our conscienceness, that we were never eager for this office. This is especially true when many of these ordinations proceed not from the divine grace, but from human ambition. God chose Judas, and set him in that holy company, and granted him the rank of apostle with the rest, and gave him something more than the others in the management of the money. What then? When he abused both of these trusts and betrayed him whom he was appointed to preach, and spent badly that which he was appointed to administer well, did he escape punishment? Nay, for this very reason he had to pay a heavier penalty, and rightly so. For we must not use the honours bestowed on us by God to offend God, but to please him the more. But he who, when he should be punished, claims to be exempt because he has received greater honour, is doing the same as if the unbelieving Jews who heard Christ say, "If I had not come and spoken unto them, then they had not had sin. And if I had not done among them the works which none other did, they had not had sin," were to accuse their Saviour and Benefactor, and say, "Why then didst thou come and speak? Why didst thou work miracles that thou mightest punish us more?" But these words are signs of madness and utter insanity. The physician came not to condemn you, but to heal you, and to free you utterly of your disease. But you wilfully refused those healing hands. Receive then the heavier punishment, as you would have been freed from your former ills if you had yielded to cleanse yourself from them. Now that you saw and rejected him, and since you cannot be cleansed, you will be punished both for them and for making his zeal vain, so far as you lay. Therefore we are not subject to the same test. Before being honoured by God and after our honour, but we have much severer test afterwards. For he whom kindly treatment did not make good would deserve to suffer more bitterly. Since then this excuse has been proved weak, and is so far from saving those who have recourse to it, that it increases their guilt. We must provide another path of safety. Basil, his friend, what path is this? For I cannot now control myself, so timid and fearful have you made me by these words. Chapter 2. Hence the need for careful examination. Chrysostom, the main speaker. Do not, I beg and entreat you, deject yourself so far. There is a path of safety. To us who are weak, this path is to refrain from entering upon these duties. To you, who are strong, it is this: to suffer your hopes of salvation, to depend on nothing after God's grace, save the avoidance of all that is unworthy of that gift, and of God the giver. They deserve the greatest punishment, who, after receiving this office, by their own ambition, abuse the trust, either through idleness or through wickedness, or through inexperience. I do not imply that there is any pardon for those who have not sought the office. On the contrary, they too are deprived of all excuse. For I think that even if 10,000 men invite and constrain you, you must not look to them. You must first examine your own soul, and when you have thoroughly tested your whole self, then and then only should you yield to their violence. No, no one who is not a builder would venture to build a house, and no one who has not learnt the physician's art would attempt to tend the bodies of the sick. On the contrary, although many men press and constrain them, they will refuse, and not blush to confess their ignorance. And they not, and shall not he who is to be entrusted with the care of so many souls, first examine himself? Shall he, though he be the most inexperienced of men, accept the ministry because this man begs him, and that the man constrains him, and lest he offend such an one? How shall he fail to cast himself with them into an abyss of evil? For whereas he might have saved his own soul, he involves others in ruin with himself. How can he hope for safety? How can he hope to obtain a pardon? Who are there who shall then intercede for him? Those perhaps now constrain and violently compel him? But who shall save them at that hour? They themselves need the help of others if they would escape the fire. To prove that I say this not to frighten you, but to tell you the truth, hear what the blessed Paul says to his disciple Timothy, his true and beloved child. Lay hands hastily on no man, neither be partaker of other men's sins. Do you see how great is the blame and the punishment of which, so far as in me, lay? I have freed those who would have led me into this course, as it is not sufficient excuse for those who have been chosen to say, I did not come forward of my own accord, and I accepted the office because I did not foresee its dangers. So it cannot avail those who make choice of him to say that they did not know the character of whom they choose. Why, the fault is all the greater because they promoted one whom they knew not, and that which seems to be an excuse increases the sin. Is it not strange that when men wish to pursue a slave, they show him to physicians, and demand sureties for the purchase, and make inquiries of neighbours, and after all this, they still feel insecure and demand a long time for trial? Yet, when they are about to select a man for this great ministry, they make a careless and random choice without further examination, according as some casual person sees fit, to testify for or against other people. Who then will intercede for us at the hour when those who should protect us themselves need protection? Nay, rather, he who is about to lay hands on one should make a careful search, but he who is to be ordained should be more careful still. Although they who appointed him share his punishment, still he is not free from the penalty, but shall receive a greater vengeance than they, unless those who made choice of him did so for some personal cause, against their better judgment. For if they should be detected in doing so, knowing him to be unworthy, the punishment will be as great as his, perhaps even greater for choosing an unfit man. He who gave the power to one minded to do so, to ruin the church, will himself be held accountable for the other's outrages. But if he be guilty of none of this, and plead that he had been misled by popular opinion, even then he is not free from punishment, howbeit he pays a somewhat lighter penalty than he who is ordained. Why so? It is reasonable that they who made the choice may be deceived by a false opinion, but he who has been chosen cannot urge the plea that others might. I do not know myself, since then he is liable to severer punishment than those who promoted him. He ought to make a minuter examination of his own character. I want to look up this word. I want to make sure I'm saying this right.
Minuter.
Examination of his own character, and if they who bring him forward to do so in ignorance, he should go to them and instruct them in the reasons of his unworthiness, and thereby remove the deception, and when he has shown himself unworthy of the test, he will escape to responsible work. Why is it that when a matter of warfare or merchandise or husbandry or other worldly business is under consideration, the husbandman would never consent to sail, nor the soldier to plough, nor the pilot to lead an army, though he should be threatened with untold deaths? It is clearly because each one sees the danger which would attend his inexperience. Then shall we use such foresight when the penalty is trifling, and refuse to yield to compulsion? But where the penalty is everlasting to those who do not know how to administer the bishop office, shall we lightly and thoughtlessly incur so great a danger, and shelter ourselves behind the persuasion of others? Nay, he who then judges us will not suffer it. We ought to have used far greater precaution over spiritual than over worldly matters. Yet in reality, we are found to employ less. Tell me, if we believed that a man was a good craftsman, who is no craftsman, and were to ask him to complete some work, and he followed us, and when he had laid his hands on the material of the builder's trade, were to ruin the wood and ruin the masonry, and build the house in such wise that it should forthwith fall asunder, would it be wise enough excuse for him that he was compelled by others to undertake the work, and did not come on his own invitation? Surely not. And it is reasonable and just, for he ought to have refused the work, though invited to it by others. Shall we say then that he who ruins wood and masonry shall have no forgiveness? But he who destroys souls and builds them up carelessly may be forgiven, by pleading that he was persuaded by others to undertake the work? Is this not foolish? I will not yet add the argument that no one can compel another against his will. Let it be granted that he has been subject to irresistible force in every manner of artful device, so that he fell in the snare. Shall this plea save him from punishment? Pray, let us never deceive ourselves so utterly. Let us not reply that we do not know facts which are clear to mere children, for surely this affection of ignorance will not be able to help us at the day of judgment. Were you reluctant to undertake this office, conscious as you were of your weakness? Very good. You should then with this resolve have evaded it. Though others were inviting you, were you weak and unsuitable so long as no one invited you? And when men came to promote you, did you suddenly become strong? This is absurd and ridiculous, and deserves the uttermost punishment. This is the very reason why the Lord bids him who wishes to build a tower not to lay the foundation until he calculates his own power, that he may not give those who pass by innumerable occasions of laughing him to scorn. His penalty is ridicule, but ours is fire unquenchable, and the worm that never dies, and gnashing of teeth, and outer darkness, and the cutting asunder, and being numbered with the hypocrites. But they who accuse us will consent to see nothing of this. Otherwise, think for the gifts, otherwise they would have ceased to blame him who is unwilling needlessly to perish. The question before us does not deal with the management of wheat and barley, nor oxen and sheep, nor any other such matters. It concerns the very body of Jesus. For the church is Christ's own body, according to the Blessed Paul, and he who is entrusted the task of developing into health and beauty should look around at every point, lest there be anywhere a spot or wrinkle, or any other such blemish, marring its bloom and comeliness, and in short he should make it worthy, so far as lies within human power, of the pure and blessed head which it possesses. If those who are eager for the condition of body befitting an athlete need physicians and trainers and careful diet and continual exercise, and innumerable other attentions, for the neglect of a trifle in these matters overthrows and destroys all their hopes, how shall they who have received the task attending to this body, which has to contend not against flesh and blood, but against the unseen powers, be able to guard it spotless and sound, unless they far exceed human wisdom and understand all treatment needful for the soul? This is the end of today's reading. Tomorrow we'll be reading Book 4, Chapter 3, The Importance of Preaching. Oof. Miles says, how do I save my soul? Hold on. I'm getting a headache from my glasses hurting me. So, to saving your soul. Let's look up with ChatGPT. I don't want to get this wrong. Wait, actually, here, guys, watch this.
Hi there. I just want to share how thrilled I am to work with you.
Hello, Alex. According to the Bible, how do we save our soul?
Hello, Acelia. In the Bible, salvation is typically described as believing in Jesus Christ as your Savior. By having faith in Him, repenting from sins, and following His teachings, believers seek to achieve eternal life and salvation. It's also about a personal relationship with God, nurturing love, and living a life of compassion and service to others. Would you like to explore any specific teachings or verses related to this?
No, thank you, but thank you so much, Alex, for the explanation.
You're welcome, Acelia. I'm glad I could help. If you have any more questions or need further guidance, feel free to ask.
Thank you so much for the offer. I'll be going now.
Take care, Acelia. Have a wonderful day, and I'm always here if you need anything. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Hi there. I just want to...
Hey, it's good.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi. Glad to meet... Hey. Hi there.
Hi there. Nice to. Hey there.
Hey, how's it...
Hey, what's up?
Hey.
Hi there.
Hi there. I just want to share how thrilled I am to work with you, and...
Hey, it's great to meet you.
Hey, I'm ready to hit the...
Hello.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi there. I just want to share how thrilled I...
Hi there. Hey there.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, how's it going? I'm looking forward to work...
Hey there. Hi there.
Hi there. I just want to share how thrilled...
What happened to Alex's old voice? Oh, Kyle's King says, are you coming to study later? Yeah, can you add me back in? Because, honestly, wait, just add me back to Instagram and then the Discord. Hi, Kyle. I just finished today's reading. Okay, let me scroll up and see what I missed. Period says, hello. Hi. Oh, hey, you joined earlier. Tony, appreciate you so much for the gifts. Eli says, I understand it now. Wonderful. Could you tell me more about the thoughts you were having? Snoover says, sup, homies. Sup. Galog Wag says, climate change. I blocked this person earlier. Hero208 says, I'm gonna go. Sorry, I'm going to miss a live. I'll be on the next live. Oh, thank you so much for being here anyway. They're probably gone by now, but still. Deus Bass says, new here, God bless. Hi! Don't worry about it, we're just enjoying the reading today. After this, I'll be reading the Bible, and then I'll be going off to my study group. Sen by MILF1 says, I may sound ignorant, but what are we reading? So the title of what we're reading should be right here. We're reading the Greek translation of Christian literature, upon St. Chrysostom on priesthood. Jacob's mind actively says hi. Hello. Galaga says something. Ghostface says hello. Hi, thank you so much for your follow. Aku says triple sevens. Snuva says hi YouTube. Hi Snuva. Sad52335 says hello. Hi. Sad52335, thank you so much for your follow. Bob Seixas says Glass is fine. Aku says, I don't know how to explain, Reed. Here, let me learn how to pronounce your name properly. That's Mom? Why won't it give me... It won't let me... it won't give me the proper pronunciation. So that's a bit sad. Akuak. Mile already read this. Miles says thanks. Kylis King says, are you coming to study later? Yeah, for sure. Aku says, okay. Jones, appreciate you so much for your rose. Aku says, just call me Alutak. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Can you please help me pronounce? Akutag. Did I say it right? Hold on, I need to wipe my nose. But that is, in order to make sure that I make it on time for today's reading, today's study. Hold on, I need my phone. Sorry, I'm distracted on Instagram. With that being said, let's quickly end today's live stream and go on to our Bible reading before I have to go study. So, with here, if I see you, I see you. If I don't, I don't. But with anything that could be said, God bless you. And in Yeshua's name, amen.